The news came as an unexpected and terrible shock. My father, who had been living alone since the death of my mother, had been discovered dead at home. I can still remember the sense of bewilderment and unreality. Years later, it still hurts that I was unable to have a last conversation with my father, to tell him how much I loved him, how thankful I was for all that he had given me. None of us can know in advance when we might suddenly lose a loved one, nor how our own lives will end. But that means we need to think about it now, when we have the opportunity. I've written this book as a doctor who's cared for many people both at the beginning and at the end of life, and who has wrestled for many years with the complex ethical and medical issues around life and death. I'm also a son who has lost both parents, and a Christian believer who wants to know more about what it means to die well and to die faithfully and honestly in the light of the Christian good news. You too may share this faith, or you may be someone looking on from the outside. Either way, I hope you will find this book helpful and relevant. Of course, it is never easy to think and talk about death, particularly about our own mortality. So congratulations on getting this far and at least starting the introduction to this book. I hope you will continue with me on this journey. The truth is that most people are unprepared for dying and do not want to think about it. Yet I have come to believe that this is a desperately important issue for all of us. If you ask how they would like to die, most people today will say, I want to die in my bed while I am asleep. I don't want any warning, any premonition, any awareness. I just want to go out suddenly, like a light. Yet the strange thing is that if you were to go back 400 years and ask people the same question, they would generally agree that sudden, unexpected death was the worst possible way to die. To be catapulted into eternity with no chance to prepare yourself, no chance to say goodbye, no chance to ask for forgiveness or to ensure your loved ones were provided for, no chance to prepare yourself to meet your Maker? What a terrible way to die. So why have attitudes to dying changed so radically? And what can we learn from the way in which Christians of previous generations faced their own deaths? This book is intended to provide answers to these questions. I've written the book for people who want to start to think about how their lives on earth are going to end and what it might involve. Perhaps you have received a diagnosis of what doctors call a life-limiting illness. Or perhaps you simply recognize that you are getting older and you want to make sure that you are prepared for whatever might come next. Perhaps you are a relative, a friend, or a carer of someone who is coming to the end of life, and you are concerned about how to support him or her and what the future might hold. If so, this book is also for you. Appendix 1 is specifically intended for relatives and carers. Whatever your situation, I can understand that you may feel anxious thinking about these issues. But over the years, as I've had the privilege of talking about death and dying with many people, I have found that the most powerful and pervasive fears of all are fears of the unknown and the undiscussed. When we face these issues honestly and openly together, we can see that many of our darkest fears are out of touch with reality. The terrible fears of the night are so much easier to face in the bright light of day. The Apostle John teaches us that we should walk in the light. 1 John chapter 1 verse 7. And one way we do this is by sharing our deepest fears and anxieties with those who love us and whom we can trust. My prayer is that this book will help you to do that.